Mr. Eugene H. Krabs is a parsimonious, materialistic, cheap, and fraudulent, irredeemable cheapskate crustacean who's overly obsessed with money, and let's face the facts, he seriously needs to be locked up in jail. Everybody, keep Lieutenant Kai writer Nathan here, and I'll be discussing the top 10 reasons why Mr. Krabs from the SpongeBob SquarePants series should be locked up in prison. First up, number 10, breaking and entering. In the episode Midlife Crustacean, Mr. Krabs is going through a midlife crisis and asks for SpongeBob and Patrick's help in making him feel like a young man again by taking him out on a wild night on the town. However, the wild night turns out to be pretty damn mild, to be honest. To make up for this, Patrick lets him in on the final activity of the night, the panty raid. As if sneaking into a poor, unsuspecting woman's house to steal their underwear isn't despicable enough, Mr. Krabs ends up arriving at the house of his mother. Instead of pressing charges, his mother grounds him for the night and sends him up to his childhood bedroom. Breaking and entering can and will result in a year in prison. Number 9. Counterfeiting. In the Krabby Chronicle, Mr. Krabs decides to start publishing his own newspaper and hires SpongeBob to write bogus lies about his friends by threatening to confiscate his spatula. After SpongeBob writes a story that tells the truth after all the lies that Mr. Krabs made him write about his friends, the angry customers take their money back into their ownership by force. Afterwards, Krabs finds a leftover $1 and uses his printing press to make fake money. Of course, this isn't the only time he used to make fake money. In the episode One Course Meal, he pays SpongeBob and Squidward in wacky dollars, his own business currency. The U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing is behind the making of the illegal U.S. currency. Counterfeiting is a serious felony that will lead up to both a $250,000 fine and a year in prison or jail. Number 8. Grave robbing. As shown in One Krabs Trash, Mr. Krabs sells SpongeBob a novelty drink hat, which is revealed to be insanely valuable. He tricks SpongeBob by pretending to be the ghost of the hat's original owner, and SpongeBob does return the hat, but to the original owner's grave. So you want to know what Mr. Krabs does? He digs up the grave, and he pries the hat off the owner's dead body, resulting in Krabs getting into an all-night battle with undead skeletons. He returns to the people wanting to pry the hat, but only to find out it's lost its worth. Even though he didn't get arrested for this, he did get traumatized by it. The penalty for grave robbing ranges between a Class B felony to a Class C misdemeanor, which means that Mr. Krabs could either be fined either to $500 to $15,000, sentenced up to 3 months to 20 years in prison, or both. Number 7. Aggravated assault. In the episode The Two Faces of Squidward, SpongeBob ends up sending Squidward to the hospital by damaging his face with the door. After getting the bandages removed, Squidward's face has now become extremely handsome. SpongeBob and Squidward run from the mob, and Mr. Krabs is actually elated to see so many people at the Krusty Krab only because of Squidward's new handsome look. It took a couple more hits to his face, but Squidward was turned back to normal, causing the crowd to leave. Krabs then hits the door against Squidward's face repeatedly to try to make Squidward look handsome again. Aggravated assault is a serious felony that has a 10 to 20 year prison sentence. Number 6. Animal cruelty. In the episode Jellyfish Hunter, Krabs discovers that people like SpongeBob's new Krabby Patty with jellyfish jelly, and decides to have his Chipper Reporter's employee hunt down and capture all the jellyfish in jellyfish fields. However, what our little square Amico doesn't know is that Krabs has opened up a jellyfish sweatshop, where he squeezes, stretches, and juices the poor creatures, and possibly even kills them in the process. However, SpongeBob gets the help of a blue jellyfish named No Name and later named Fred at the end of the episode in freeing the jellyfish, and Krabs gets a heaping helping of karmic justice by getting painfully zapped. This isn't the only episode that depicts Krabs being abusive to animals. In The Scent of Money, due to having a shell in his magnet in his shell, Mr. Krabs uses Gary as a money finder as a result of Gary's shell becoming magnetic to coins. This took a serious toll on Gary's physical health, but Mr. Krabs did not give a flying fuck. However, when Gary magnetically attracts all the coins in the arcade and causes a coin tsunami, Krabs is sent to the hospital and is giving a monstrous hospital bill. The punishment wasn't that severe, though. What should have happened was that Krabs should either have been fined 500,000 grand or put in prison for a year. Of course, since Mr. Krabs is a parsimonious, cheap bastard, he'd rather take the prison sentence. Number 5. He nearly drove Plankton to suicide. I'm sorry, but this is just fucked up. In the episode One Course Meal, after learning that Plankton has cetophobia, Mr. Krabs takes advantage of this. He dresses up like Pearl and torments Plankton non-stop to the point Plankton tries to take his own life by being turned into roadkill. I understand that Plankton and Mr. Krabs have been enemies for years, but this is just freaking sickening. Have the producers been taking inspiration from certain creepypastas centered around SpongeBob or something? You know, like creepypastas, but yeah, there's a limit to what creepypastas I like to read. Number 4, theft. This has occurred in various episodes, like how in Life of Crime, where Krabs has stolen a barrel from the Salty Sea Farms, a towel from the Sizzling Spring Sauna, a Bikini Bell phone, Sandy's hedge clippers, Plankton's lawnmower, and Mrs. Puff's hair curlers. Krabs lies about the hair curlers being a gift and of the borrowing all the other stuff. This wasn't the only time he's committed theft. In the episode The Patty Caper, it was revealed that Krabs had stolen the Krabby Patty secret formula in order to avoid paying for it, and attempted to frame SpongeBob for the theft. He actually does get arrested, but faces a punishment worse than jail. And that's watching SpongeBob give away Krabby Patties for free for one whole day, since he is against free food. And also, there was a time in the Smoking Peanut where he took free day far too literally and stole a pearl from a performing circus clam. And yeah, the penalty for theft depends on the value of what was stolen. If it valued below $1,000, the sentence is a year in jail. However, if the object valued $1,000 or higher, Krabs could be serving 10 years in jail. Number 3, food poisoning. Mr. Krabs has been infamous for poisoning his customers. In Patty Hype, Mr. Krabs sells pretty patties that SpongeBob made to a whopping total of 46,853 customers. The patties turned the customers' skins and tongues into different colors, and one customer's tongue even glowed in the dark. Instead of getting arrested, he got chased. This isn't the only time he's poisoned his customers. This also happened in The Krusty Sponge, where Mr. Krabs sells rotten Krabby Patties or spongy patties to the customers, resulting in them becoming sick, yellow, and spongy. Nasty. Number 2, violating labor laws. Mr. Krabs has been shown committing various labor crimes in various episodes. In Fear of a Krabby Patty, he forces SpongeBob and Squidward to work 24-hour shifts for 43 consecutive days, driving Squidward into exhaustion and SpongeBob into madness. But also, like, not only does he overwork his employees, but he underpays them too. In Bummer Vacation, Mr. Krabs shows a dime to SpongeBob, and our little square friend exclaims that's more than he makes a year. He also makes him work extra hours without overtime. The Krusty Krab's really like a sweatshop, and yet he doesn't give him raise to after paying his employees very little money. So he's basically putting his employees in extreme, if not exceptional, poverty. Even worse, in the episode Big Pink Loser, he even has his employees pay him for every use of service. This isn't the only time he's done that. In Squid on Strike, Squidward gets charged a bill from Mr. Krabs for the most bull-crap reasons, such as breathing, standing, and even existing. $1 for breathing, $5 for talking, $10 for standing, $2 for existing, $2 for lollygagging, and $1 for chewing. This added out to a whopping $21. It caused Squidward and SpongeBob to go on strike as a result. Of course, something like that is no excuse to raise profits. The penalty for violating labor laws is that if you violate it once, you get a $10,000 fine, or if you're second offense, you get put in jail. Number 1, attempted murder. I will be covering 2 episodes about this. In the Nasty Patty, Krabs forces SpongeBob to make the titular burger after believing that Health Inspector Yellowtail is actually an imposter in disguise trying to get a free meal. However, when the actual criminal gets caught and put in jail, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob freak the hell out because they think they've actually killed the real Health Inspector Yellowtail. They try to hide the body, however, the inspector wakes up from unconsciousness several times. It gets knocked out 2 or 3 more times. And yet, the Krusty Krab still passes the health inspection. There's also the episode Out of the Picture, where an art dealer interested in Squidward's artwork tells Mr. Krabs that the art would be worth more if the artist was out of the picture. So, Mr. Krabs sends Squidward on ridiculous deliveries in Arctic areas and jungles. And when that fails, Mr. Krabs attempts to straight up murder Squidward with the mallet. If anything like that would happen in real life, Mr. Krabs would be serving a life sentence for trying to kill a health inspector, and in later seasons, Squidward. Next time, I will be discussing the top 10 reasons why Lois Griffin from Family Guy should file for divorce against Peter. This is Keep Mackay writer Nathan, signing off. Ciao!